down
All right,
41
let's
pounds.
get the party started as we get some stragglers coming in here. All right. Let's start with some wins. Let's get like a few really good production related wins. Last 7 days, what's good in the business? Get in the chat. Leave something good. We'll get into today's topic, which is how to crush your database, add 2 to 3 transactions per month, and spending not a lot of money doing it, which is the beautiful part of today's call. And I'll formally introduce this call once we get our latecomers in here.
I'll go first. I went into my MLS and downloaded my MLS going back 3 years, put it into spreadsheet, created some formulas, found some awesome subdivisions that are turning at a high rate, a really high rate, about 10%. I was very surprised. Nobody owns that subdivision. There's not a single, farming listing agent. And I've got a couple of agents who are in my organization here locally. I'm getting together with them, talking to them, and they will be getting the first pick of a subdivision they want to go and farm. And but also discovered some agents own subdivisions, like 95% of all listings. And there's one high-rise condominium complex I found, 800,000 to 1.2 million price range. One agent just dominates 35 listings there per year. He basically owns everything. That's crazy. So just my kind of win.
Awesome. Who else has a production related win last 7 days? What's good in the business? Brag on yourself a little bit, and then I'll get going here.
I'll go next. I'm listing today or tomorrow, if I can make it, my third $4+ million listing for this year, and it's all thanks to EXP Luxury.
Nice.
Beautiful. That's a good one.
And I know, and some hard work behind it as well.
Yeah, love it. All right, let's get the party started here. Let me make sure I have. Yeah, I'm the host. All right, so I should be in good shape here. All right, so this is our Tuesday collab call, Game Changers Nation. Just once a week we get together, practical systems to help you grow your business, tools that you can use, more often tactical and practical than theoretical, and to teach you how to do it in a way where you're not going to lose your life in the process. That's kind of the backdrop of everything you'll hear from anyone we bring on or some of our leaders that we'll bring to all of you. It's not hard to sell more homes if you give your life away in the process, and that's something that we're not going to sacrifice on. So that's the promise of anything you'll learn here in Game Changers Nation. Today's topic is, and I'm going to give you guys a 28-page workbook, a bunch of tools that you can use. You'll have some homework leaving this session here if you decide to go deep on, and I think everyone should go super deep on today's topic, how to build and structure your database to generate 2 to 3 transactions per month. That's the promise here. Last 12 months, only 1% of agents sold 25 homes or more. And it was like some crazy statistic, 75% of agents sold 1 home or less in the last 12 months. So we are still in the square in right in the middle of a unit recession. This year, 2025, was forecast to be a 20% uptick nationwide in terms of units transacted, and it's actually turning out to be less than last year. So interest rates not coming down. It's still a gridlock. Most markets are having not a crazy uptick in terms of a shift from a seller's to a buyer's market, but it's definitely leveling out. Days on market is increasing, and there's typically more inventory, which is not the end of the world. Gives us a little bit more time to market listings and generate additional clients. Bless you. All right, so we're going to get into. First, I want to start with mindset, and this is where you guys need to play along. So when I ask you for input, get in the chat and give me input. We'll start with mindset around your database. I have a very deeply held belief, and 5,000 plus families served in my real estate sales journey. Our best year was 453 transactions in a single year. I only had 10 producing agents to do that. That year, I took home 1.2 million. So anything that I'm going to teach you works in the micro, and it works if you want to add agents to your world. So we'll start with mindset. Um, I wouldn't mess with any lead generation system if you aren't gonna be doing it 10 years from now, and you don't think it's good for multiple transactions per month. So that was like my criteria. If I was going to build out a marketing system, and that's where my sweet spot really in business, it wasn't working with buyers, it wasn't working with sellers, it wasn't being like the friendly agent that's going to outfriend somebody. I was a systems builder. I did all the production. I did a lot of production until I was able to leverage myself out of it. But the mindset I had going into building a marketing system is that I was willing to put in the effort, and no matter, as long as I knew that this was good for multiple transactions per month, and in my mind, it had to be good for 50 transactions per year for me to build the system and then commit to it as long as it took to get it to 50, 75, 100 deals per year. Now, you may have smaller goals, right? You may want to just get to 25 or 50 transactions. Whatever your goals are, though, I have to get you to commit to the mindset that you're going to do the work required to get this lead gen system to produce at the level you know it's possible. The kiss of death in real estate is that we are constantly shifting from this thing to that thing to this thing to that thing, and we're never focused on one thing long enough to get it to work. And the challenge is it all works. Some takes a lot of effort. Some of these systems take a lot of effort, to generate a little bit results. Some are, way easier. They're more sustainable. They're easier to scale, this is that system, your database. So that's number one, is mindset. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Then we're going to talk about how to build it. Like if you have no database right now, or is a complete crap show, you think it's in your CRM, but you can't get to it in 2 clicks, you haven't communicated real well, I'm going to give you a process and a tool to build it. And I'm going to show you how to feed it. And then I'm going to show you how to communicate with it. We've got a 60-touch blueprint that you'll follow, specifically to generate. And the reason we do this is that 10 to 15% of your inner circle, know, like, trust database will either transact with you directly or refer business to you with a proper touch system in place. So if you can get a database of people that know, like, and trust you of 250, there's 25 to 37 deals there. That's the 2 to 3 deals per month promise. And I would say the reason most agents, I kind of mentioned it a little bit, the reason most agents aren't doing 2 to 3 deals per month from their database is that they're just distracted with all the stuff. I've probably talked to maybe thousands of real estate agents that are coming into my world, either through EXP or through my paid coaching program. And very rarely are they, if they're in the first couple months of this like great lead gen system, they're excited about it, but very rarely is that system in their business for 6, 12, 18, 24 months. So they're just constantly trying all these things that promise to be like the easy button, like, just give me money or I'll generate leads for you and a commission check comes out the other side. Very rarely does that happen. I've talked to people that have spent $50,000 for 1 year to create 12 YouTube videos that generated nothing for their business. Like, I'm not saying it was passive prospecting, but the concept, because there's an actual YouTube brand called Passive Prospecting, I don't think it was that one specifically, but there's a lot of promises that are happening right now, where people that are not even in the real estate industry necessarily, they're coming in, I'll build the funnels, I'll run the ads, and that stuff typically isn't long lasting in your business. Okay. So the warning on this is that this requires some effort. So it requires some effort to generate, let's say you're in a market, I guess nationwide it's even more than $10,000, but just to use simple math, the promise here is that there's an additional $20,000 to $30,000 per month of gross commission income available to you at more than a 20x return in terms of any expenses you could put towards this. If you do some direct mail, and we'll talk about different options there, that's what I'm talking about. And that's when real estate gets fun, when you're doing 2, 3, even 4, 5 deals per month, and you have a little bit of admin leverage. Those additional 1 or 2 deals per month, if you're a solo agent, that's where you're living an awesome lifestyle, and you're putting money away for investments and not having to grind all the time. I can't tell you how many agents I've talked to 20, 25, 30 years in the business where they haven't done what I'm about to teach you right now, and they have nothing financially to show for all the effort, all the years they put into their business. We have members that have put these systems in place 7, 8, 9, even 10 years ago at this point, that are generating multiple seven figures per year of GCI using the system I'm about to teach you. The only difference with somebody that has done that and anyone else is that every working day they focused on their database. Because in the beginning, when they weren't generating any business from it, they had the mindset that this system would be good for 50, 100, in their case, 40% of 700, 280, 300 deals per year. But when they started, it was like 8 or 10 deals a year, right? So, all right. So does that make sense? Camera's on if you just joined. Does that make sense to everyone? Any questions on the mindset that I want you to adopt on this? Because I believe if you believe this is good for $20,000 to $30,000 per month, you'll actually put in the effort to put the systems in place so that those closings come to fruition. You got something,
So,
John?
Lars, yeah, if I'm hearing you correctly, and I think I am, what you're saying is this would be the first and foundational pillar to your real estate business if you were starting over tomorrow.
Yeah. So there are, depending on what your goals are. So once I realized that the 80% of real estate was admin in nature and it was going to take me away from my family, and I quickly focused on the systems, lead gen systems specifically, to allow for just a crazy amount of opportunity. If you hold the belief that each lead gen system you put in place is good for one or more transactions per month, you only need 3 or 4 to sell 3, 4, 5, 6 homes per year. To John's point, database, inner circle, 250 people that if you were in the vegetable area of the supermarket, you'd be like, oh, Viraj, I remember we did that transaction a couple years ago. I get your newsletter. So it's that sort of know, like, and trust. That's the base level. Inside of the 250, and John, I'm going to use Jessica as an example here in a little bit. Inside of the 250, there's like 50 people that are kind of like, if you had a, not that I'm a wine and cheese guy, but if you had a wine and cheese event, like a Friday 4 to 6 p.m. at a wine bar, those 50 would be invited to an event like that. So those are like high influence, they're connected in the community, maybe, husband, wife are both professionals, whatnot. Wife is on the PTA, she's that influencer kind of person. Those are the 50 you're looking for. In the larger 250, that's the database touch blueprint that we're talking about, and I'm going to teach you today. The next layer is, and we're not going to go through it today, but it's the brand authority builder, which is your digital footprint. That takes your 250 and you can blow it out 10x, if not 100x. People that quote unquote know, like, and trust you because they see the stuff you're putting online, your digital footprint. And then 1 or 2 additional lead gen levers, expired direct mail, our FISBO program, or whatever. But database could be the entire business. And I'll give the example right now. So if my team is on here, Sasha, if you can grab the unlisted YouTube from Jessica Wade, where she went through, we kind of deconstructed her business. I forget what we called it, but she did 42 transactions from a database of 250 people. And she ran that database on zero tech, just out of a simple spreadsheet. And her main approach with her database was every week she was going to have a cup of coffee with one of the 250 and a lunch with one of the 250. And then she had 5 or 6 community events that she tagged onto. So very basic system. She worked about 8 to 10 hours a week on her database to set all of that up. And she did 42 transactions from her database of 250. So let's get that in the chat. That is almost required. Yeah, so Sasha's going to grab it from my team. All right, so that's the mindset. One more thing, I want to get everyone to give me a thumbs up. Is it possible in your market that if you worked to identify the right people. So I'm looking for the 50 where they're the type of people that would refer a piece of business to you that closed. So I just said that kind of like weird, but I believe that inside the 250, you don't know which the 50 are, but you work over time to tag people that are actually referring business to you. I don't even think it takes 250 to close 50. I think there are literally 50 people that I know or I can develop a relationship over the next 12 months that would refer me a piece of business because of the way that I treated them. Not like calling them for, give me a referral, but I'm legit a source of value and inspiration, and we'll go through the touch system. But do you guys believe, thumbs up like John's doing, do you believe it's possible that there are 50 people in your market that you could bring into your inner circle, treat them the right way? As a result of that, they would naturally think of you and refer business to you. Is that possible? Give me a thumbs up. Or you can even just do it this way. I see Viraj looking for the thumbs up emoji. All right, everyone believe that? I'm waiting for the guest. If Viraj says, okay, there you go. All right, if I was going to bring him on, unmute him and do a coaching session with him. So that's the reason why when I talk about build it, feed it, the feed it part is the work we're doing every day to add people to the database. So let me grab a document for you guys, and I'll be sharing 3 specific tools. That lay a lot of this out, and you get a lot of, oh, I don't have access to that one. Am I not logged in here? I should be. All right, give me a split second. There we go.
Which doc is that you're looking for, Lars? Sorry.
Well, I don't have only people with access can open with the link. I'm gonna have to, I don't love that, all right, I'm looking for the rooted database lever, but let me see if I can, someone click on this. Someone click on that link. Does it open up a make a copy? No, it's restricted. Why is this like this in here? Give me a second. I'll figure it out real quick.
What if you make a copy of that, Lars, and then change the permissions on that copy?
Yeah, that's what I got to do. I just may not be signed into sometime my Google. Oh, I don't want that one either. What the heck? Dun, dun, dun,
So sidebar, Lars has given us all the good stuff that his people pay for. So appreciate you, Lars. Thanks for adding massive value here for us.
For sure. All right, let me make a copy of this. This does not make me too happy, but it's fine. All right. So this version I should own, and I can do a share. All right, there we go. So anyone with a link, I'm going to copy the link. All right, here we go. And I'll share my screen and I'm going to run you guys through this. View. Now, if I put copy, it should prompt you. Someone click on that. Is that working better? My word. All right, just don't ask. How about that? That's got to work. All right. Just don't ask for like a request copy of it. Just make a copy of it in your own drive. And I'll pull up this document and we'll roll with this. All right. So the first part of this process, you're gonna hate me for. So the build it. Actually, everyone go into the chat. Do me this favor. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being my database is not orderly at all. I can't, within a couple clicks, get to my inner circle. I haven't really touched them. with valuable information over the last, 3 to 6 months or so. Like one, your database is a crap show. It's not producing consistent business for you. 5, it's completely dialed in. Your database is totally clean. Everyone in your inner circle receives value from you, and they're ready to sing from the hilltops how awesome you are. All right, so let's see how honest you guys are. Dave's honest. Kevin's honest. Got a 3. 3's pretty decent. Ben's got a 3. Yeah, typically we see a lot of 1, 2s. Rarely do I see a 4 or 5 with this. And I think we want it to be different than this. So I will tell you, if you commit to this process, you will see success. Can everyone see my screen? Awesome. All right, so build it, feed it, communicate. So the build it process, this is going to take you probably 12 hours. Who's out? Anyone out on that one? And the quicker you can get this done, the better. So I wouldn't do any more than 60-minute time blocks, but you're basically going to time block in your calendar 12 hours to go through your cell phone, your Gmail, your social media accounts, and a very simple top 100. I don't want you to overcomplicate this. I want you to actually do this outside of your CRM. You can use, if your CRM has some of your contacts in it, you could use it, but I don't want you to, I'm trying to think of, what am I sharing now? We're so focused on, can you guys see the spreadsheet? I'm a Google Meet user now. All right, cool. So if it were my preference, even if you have a CRM, I would have you build out the database again on this simple spreadsheet. And all that's required for a full contact is first name, last name, email, mobile, and then you're going to work to get their physical address because we're going to want to send them a monthly home market report. And you're going to get some first name, last name, no email, no mobile because they're on social media. And I've got a hack that I can show you for getting their other contact information. You're going to have to work to get complete contact records. But the reason you're going to do it is because for every 10 complete contact records that we put in here, and ultimately we get on our touch system, 1 out of 10 is going to turn into a transaction, right? So even if it takes you an hour to put 5 together, and it took you, what would that be for 250? That would be 500 hours? No, an hour to put 5 together, 50 hours. 50 hours, right? Even if it took you 50 hours to get to 250, it would be worth it because there's $250,000 of income available to you. And this is a set it and forget it thing. You could scale this, you add to it regularly, and it doesn't take a whole lot more time. So let me share this with you. This is the process that I would use for build it. And you can, yeah, your CRM will be one of the sources that you're using for this. You want to get to the, yep.
I just want to say this one more time. We're all getting this link with viewer access. Just make a copy. Don't request edit access. When you make a copy, you can edit your copy.
Yep. Good point. Yeah, like Thomas March, I don't know if he's on this call, but he's always requesting copies to everything. I've told him 100 times to stop it. Stop it. Yeah, so if you use a CRM, ultimately you are going to tag all of these. So the way that I would tag these is you call, like in the example I just gave, the 250 that has the 50 in it, I would probably call the 50 like inner circle, and I would call the 250, no, I'd probably call it inner circle is the 250 in that example, and the 50 are like VIP. So I would have 2 tags for my database, but you're working to get down, and less is more in the beginning, where people you actually have a relationship with that actually know, like, and trust you. And you're better off going down to like some people I'll get on a call with like how many people in your database? They're like 8,000. I'm like, it's not 8,000. Like, what are the people like if you pass them in a supermarket, they would actually know you? They're in your sphere or a past client. And then they're like, nobody's really dissected the database that way. All right. So there's no real way to make this process sound any better, seem any better. What am I looking for here? There we go. All right. In this document, you guys have it here. There's an exhibit. So take a note on this. So it's your cell phone, it's social media, it's your Gmail, and your existing CRM. And these are know, like, and trust you that you're putting into this spreadsheet. And then you're going to re-upload it and tag it properly. But it's like page. All right. So exhibit A of this document that I dropped are a bunch of questions to get you. If all you had were these questions, there's probably 100+ contacts you can add to the database just with these questions. Who's your dentist? Who's your kid's dentist? Your doctor, your spouse's doctor, your children's doctor? Who does your taxes? Who cuts your grass? Who does your, if you think of some of these small business owners are one of the best people to get into your database and serve them at a high value because they're highly connected. Your painter, your plumber, your electrician, pest control, whatever. Who'd you go to high school with? Who's your trainer? Your children's teachers, their coaches. There's like 50. There's 72. How many questions are there? 98, 125, 151. And then it even keeps going. Business owners, HR directors. So there isn't a shortage of, and if you put down 1 or 2 or 3 contacts for even a third of these, that's 100 to 150 contacts. And you may only know them by name, or your landscape, you're like, man, I know his first name, and I have his cell phone, but I don't even know this guy's last name. So there may be a process there, where it's like you're texting your landscape, hey, John, I'm putting together a monthly market report, just a high level view of what's going on to the market. Is it okay I add you to that list? He's going to be, sure, John. You're paying him to cut your lawn. Sure. Okay. What's the best email for you? And then, John, I hate to say this, but I don't know your last name. What's your last name? Okay, great. Mikish. Okay, so I can put it in the system to send out the market report. What's the address of the home that you live in? Okay, great. That's a complete contact record. Is it worth it to go through that 2-minute process with somebody that's probably doing the lawn of 75 to 100 lawns and doing hardscape and, yeah, 100% it's worth doing that. But it's a little bit of effort, right? So anyway, so there's definitely no shortage of this build it phase. All right, any questions on build it before I get to feed it? Any questions on build it? And I'll make the comment that this will not happen unless you put it in your calendar. 12 60-minute time blocks that say build it. And then you get to that time block. It may not be the most fun thing you're going to do that day, but it's the most valuable thing that you could do that day. Any questions on this? And even if you have a database that is semi-clean, I would still go through this process. You probably won't get through the 12 1-hour time blocks, but it's worth doing this not once a quarter if you're pretty dialed in on your database, but once a year for sure. Where just to refresh and that's part of the feed it process too, but I think a database cleanup process is really, really healthy. All right, feed it. This is the daily commitment, and I just say Monday through Friday. The daily commitment, how many contacts are you going to add to your database every day? Was anyone on the training I did about a month ago on the daily non-negotiables? I don't know if we have that anywhere. Yeah, I haven't used Forewarn, but everyone loves Forewarn. It's free in my MLS as well, and you can basically it's like I don't know if it's a skip trace. It probably like similar where you have like only a couple data points and it'll find a bunch of data points for you. So that's good. So this is pretty easy. It's making a commitment that your day doesn't end unless you add at least one contact to the database. Monday through Friday. So 5 a week, 50 weeks in a year. That's an additional 250 contacts. This could be you have maybe you're doing open houses, or you have a expired direct mail system, or a FISBO system, or whatever, or you're doing new construction or motivated sellers. It really doesn't matter where these come from. It could be someone that you go back to this list and you're like, I got to add that one contact. It's a commitment to feed the database, and then you put them through your touch process. So feed it is not, and it's detailed more in the guide, a little bit more complicated than that, but it's not all that complicated. Any questions on feed it? So in theory, if you did the big push here in the beginning, let's say you only got to 100 contacts in the build it stage. That's great. That's 10 deals there over 12 months once you put your touch system in place. If you committed to the one per day, a year from now, you would add 250 contacts to the database. And then you probably went from 100 to 350. You probably would work to shrink it down even to the 250 highest quality inner circle. You could still have a larger database, right? We've got members that have 1,000 past clients in Sphere that they've tagged 250 as their inner circle, and then they've got 50 as their VIPs. So I like that number. I think that number of every 250 legit no like trust contacts, I think there are 50 deals there with a proper super value add touch system that we're going to install or go through here in a second. Any questions on Feed It? And again, Feed It is first name, last name, email address, cell phone number, and physical mailing address. So it's a full contact information for someone. And if you're doing any of the listing lead sources that we teach, if you'll hold an open house and you're inviting sellers and you're offering a home eval, you're, calling or door knocking or doing an hour beforehand, that's a really easy way to easily in just one day to add probably 10 to the database. So it could be whatever way you need to do it, where they actually know who you are and you've invited them to receive a home market report or something of value on a regular basis. All right. So now communicate. This is where I think the whole business of real estate gets the most fun. And I want to get you guys in the chat. What are the most valuable things you can provide to someone in your database? Everyone go in the chat and just type everything you can think of. And then I'll give you my thoughts. If you put me back into production today, I'm going to tell you exactly what I would do. The goal is 60 super valuable touches where you're just giving. These are not canned emails. They're probably, I hate to say, there's some services out there that do like, a couple videos per month, and they're generally generic and spring cleaning tips. And, that's not my style, but let's see what you guys say here. Market report, love market reports. Market updates, local events, invites to annual appreciation event, free market evals, tips to increase their home value. Love that one. Town information, events, personal touch, tax assessment. Yeah, so here's the homework that I'm going to give all of you, and we can mastermind some of it now. You have to commit to 60 touches per year. 30 touches is not going to work. 20 touches is not going to work. Like, I think I sent something direct mail 5 months ago to the database. If it were me, and this is for some of you, it may be, it doesn't even cost that money, actually. I would do direct mail once a month. So me personally, I would do 8 postcards and 4 newsletters, quarterly newsletters with 8 postcards. And the postcards would probably coincide with, we were big on giveaways. So lender sponsored giveaways, 6 per year. And postcards would usually like Valentine's chocolates, Thanksgiving pies. They pick them up in the office. Those are 2. We did like a paper shredding event. Someone did a donate or dump. They had like Habitat for Humanity come to their neighborhood. They have a Habitat for Humanity truck, and then a local like personal dump service come and donate each of those. There was no real cost, and they had a coffee truck. The thing I like about like a low cost giveaway type thing is that you get credit for asking the whole database if they want a pie, for example, but like 10% of the database take you up on it. Like we had 1,000 people in our database, like our actual like cleaned up database, and we gave maybe 120 pies away, but 880 other people is that, yeah, that's right, math. We still got credit for offering a pie, but some people are like, I don't need to drive to your office for a pie, but some people are like, heck yeah, I'm driving 20 minutes out of my way to get a $7 pie. Um, so that's what I would do. So that would be 12. So 8 postcards, and then newsletters. I would do a really high quality. I'd probably do 2 a month, but let's just go with 1 a month. Has anyone ever watched like what's a good example? Well, any YouTuber that does like finance YouTube, um, like Meet Kevin, probably less so Meet Kevin these days, but basically they just have tabs open up on their screen and they're running a loom, a recorded loom where you're just doing a monthly market update. I'd probably do it weekly. I'd commit to every Friday I'm going to do something financially related about my community, or Jay Powell's not reducing rates, but he's teasing quantitative easing, or how that affects real estate, or a specific market update. We use a service called Keeping Current Matters, which gives you an infinite amount of ideas. So if it were me, I would do it weekly, but let's say you just do that once a month. And this you're going to repurpose on social. I would get thousands of views on these when I did a Facebook Live, and then we just sent it out to the database once a month. So that's another 12. So 12 print, 12 market reports. Then I would do the giveaways would be separate from, I kind of lump them into I'd probably have the giveaways be separate, honestly, because they would give us a reason to call as well. So I'm going to revise my answer on the direct mail. The direct mail wouldn't have anything to do with giveaways. It'd be 8 jumbo postcards and 4 newsletters. And you can get creative on what you send out. 12 market updates. Then I would do 6 giveaways. We do like a fire pit giveaway. A fire pit, 2 Adirondack chairs, you and your lender, someone recording a video that you send out to the database. It's also doubles on social media. A Yeti cooler giveaway in the summer. Those types of things. It could be like a low cost community event like the Dump or Donate. 6 per year that you can call around them, call the entire database to personally invite them. And you could send direct mail, you could do a voicemail drop, you could send an email, you could send a text. These where you put a little bit more energy, but they don't have to cost a lot of money because you can get a lender. If you're doing good enough business, you can get a lender to pay for them. So there are 6 total, but probably 2 touches per. So 12 direct mail, 12 market updates, 6 giveaways, but 2 touches. So that's 36. And you probably would call around each of those. So it's really 36. It's 12 plus 6. So that's like 42. I would do a quarterly personal call, which you're just calling the database once a quarter just to check in and see what's going on. That'll get you up to 46, I think it sounds like. And I'd probably do, I do birthday. So I do something on their birthday. So that's easy. You get them on Facebook and you see whoever's birthday. I'm running out of things to do. I mean, I would do a bunch of market updates. Oh, one other thing once a month. So this is a pure give. And you could text it, email it, and also do it on social. It's basically a personal development value add. Like I read, where's a book? Yeah. So you can basically do it on Loom or BombBomb where you're like, I just read this book, Essentialism. I'm at the point in my journey, just turned 52. I feel like I've acquired all this crap. We're downsizing right now in a major way over the next 12 months. 3 main takeaways from this book is like boom, boom, boom. Highly recommend you read it. I don't have an affiliate link, but go to Amazon and pick this up or grab it on Audible. Hope you're doing well. If you need anything at all around real estate or anything you could think of, my personal cell phone is right below this video. Please reach out to me. I hope everything's going well. So I would do one of those, just straight up personal development, or it could be, I just watched this 4-minute YouTube that really, that motivational, that really, in light of all that's going on, the divide in our country, this YouTube video was really kind of hit me, and I thought I would share it with you. So you're doing a video of you, and then you're putting something of value, a link or something of value below. And that's just a straight give. You could do a Facebook Live on that. You know, you can double down some of these things online. So that would probably get me pretty close to 60. If it were me, like personally, if you put me back to production, I'd probably go more towards like 100. I'd do 2 value touches per week. I'd probably do every Monday, I'd do a give like that. I'd do a personal development give, and every Friday I do a financial market update, new community, you know, also new, if you're in a market that has new construction, that's something that you could definitely send out to your database. That's pretty high value. And these are in addition to, you know, I don't recommend the ordinary just listed, just sold. But when you do sell, you know, a property, you can get real creative on a just sold to the database. But it's not like I sold it in 3 days, 12 offers. They're just going to think you got paid way too much money in little time. So make sure, and we've covered some of that in my marketing training as well. So once you commit to what the structure of the touch system is going to be, you just put it in whatever calendar or spreadsheet. And if you have an admin, they're going to come alongside you and make sure these things actually happen. If you don't, like if I were doing this and I didn't have an admin and my goal was 2 per week, I would have a 1-hour time block on Monday and a 1-hour time block on Friday to actually create the content, the email or the text or the working on the postcard or whatever, where I've got a couple hours per week to make sure those touches actually go out. If you're committing to 1 per week, I would still have 2 hours in the calendar where you're going to make sure that 1 is to work on it and then 1 is to actually get it out or execute it. You should never run out of ideas for anything related to anything, because you could just pull up ChatGPT and you can give it a little bit of context. Hey, ChatGPT, you are, you know, a high-level business coach for real estate agents that specializes in building community and helping agents build their database. You know, I live in Dallas, Texas. You know, I'm looking to send stuff to my inner circle. What are 10 examples of things that I can send? Right. I'm going to end with that. I'm going to pull up ChatGPT real quick. What questions do you guys have? I'm going to end with this one thing, because that's going to be a good teaser for next week. John is doing AI and automation. So I'm just going to leave this for John next week. I'm going to tease you guys. John, you can start off your training next week with, hey, you guys remember the training last week on database? Let's start with a prompt. You know, you got to give it context. You got to tell it who it is. Then
Thanks,
you
Lars. I
tell,
haven't started finishing that presentation yet, so now you got a direction for it.
this will be perfect. So 60, ask it for 100 touches or 10 ideas that you do on a recurring basis. You don't want them all to be email. The one warning on the communicate is, if you're finding yourself sending emails all the time, you're missing the boat. There's a low chance that people are going to open your email, let alone read it. There's 100% chance, typically, if you send a jumbo postcard, you'll get some kind of impression. Or if you send a white number 10 envelope with a first class postage and you handwrite it, 100% chance they open it. If you do a voicemail drop, 100% chance they listen to it. If you send them a text, 100% chance they're gonna read it. So be careful with, if I'll ask people if their database is dialed in, like, yes, you know, I send out emails, and like, do you write the emails yourself? You know, no, it's canned. It comes from my CRM. That is not going to produce a 2% conversion on the database. We're looking for, like, what would need to be true for you to get 10 to 15% of your inner circle database to either transact directly with you or refer people to you. And to the point where you want to get them to the point where they've had a good experience with you for their past client, but they're sitting at a restaurant and they hear the word real estate a couple tables over, and they're going to physically get up and put you on a 3-way text with that person. Like, I've got to connect you with my boy Ben. He is dialed in. I just got this market update from him, this video from him. Let me get you on a three-way messenger or a three-way text. Like, you want someone that's getting that level of value, not generic, not canned, not like your stuff looks like everyone else. So I wouldn't send a lot of emails. If you do send an email, send a text right afterward, put a sequence in your CRM, send the email and say, hey, Dave, follow up with the text. Hey, Dave, I just dropped an email with my monthly market update. Wanted to make sure you saw it, might have hit the spam. Talk to you next month. Right. So I would always point them to the email if you want your open rates to get to 40, 50%. Otherwise, they'll just be 20%. And then it's not even the same 20%. Like, you may get 4 touches in a course of a year, if you're sending that. Ben, you unmuted yourself. Do you have any questions?
Yeah. So is this for the 250 inner circle, and is there any difference between that and the VIPs?
Yeah. The only difference, the only thing I would do for VIPs is that I might do like a personal event for them. I might do some kind of quarterly get together. I'd put them on Client Giant, which is a little bit of an investment, but it's a quarterly gifting system. Client Giant has a really high return, but it's $10 per month per person you put on there. But it's gifts that you pay essentially, what does it work out to be? $30 for, that would cost you 45 to 50 to go out and purchase, and they do all the mailing for you. And they've got good like buyer and seller gifting campaigns as well. It's based on if you've ever read the book Giftology, it's a pretty simple read. There's a lot of science around reciprocity and influence people through giving them, like literally giving them something, and then they feel obligated to bring your name up. So, and then also, like in that example where I had 1,000, 250, and 50, anything that you could send out to the masses that costs you no or very little money, emails, or, I probably wouldn't invite the 1,000 to like a client, like an event or a giveaway if your database is smaller. Our inner circle was 1,000. So we probably had 4,000, 1,000, and like 100 in our inner circle. But just be careful, you don't want to let the cost get too out of hand. One other thing I was going to mention on the inner circle. Oh, did we post that, Jessica Wade YouTube? Did anybody see that come through? Yeah.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if you guys can click on that. One other thing that Jessica did, which I thought was really cool, is that she attached herself to a community event. So she would have these community events happening, and I think she did like 6 a year, where she would basically invite her clients, her 250 her 250 inner circle database, to this summer on the lawn music series or whatever. And she would say, hey, me and my family are going to be there. I'm going to be at the front, before the event starts, and I've got vouchers for a free ice cream for anyone that comes in your family. So she gets credit to inviting them to an event that she's not paying $1 to host the event. And she's only getting like 10%, maybe not even 5% of the 250 to show up. So she's basically paying for 12 to 15 families. So maybe 30 to 40 ice creams. And her lender pays those vouchers anyway. And she's got a discount with the ice cream vendor. So this stuff doesn't need to take a lot of money at all. It's just a constant, like, keeping people in the community, inviting people to stuff. They're never forgetting about you, because in her 250, they're either getting invited to a coffee, a lunch, or a community event. And that's her main strategy. The only other thing she does is her Google business profile that she has optimized. She goes through it on that call, and that does about 10 deals a year on top of the 42 that she gets from her database of 250. All right, we are at time. I've got to go get my teeth cleaned. I'm a dentist. Any questions or comments? Who's going to send Viraj the join app? I think he's ready. I sense it. I think I crushed it today enough where at least you should be a little intrigued. Maybe you can come back tomorrow. You can hear my partner in crime, John, talk about AI. John's going to trump everything I said. Next week, he's going to say, just put it in AI and it'll print commission checks for you. That'll be the sexier of the trainings. So if I didn't convince you to join today, make sure you come back next week. All right, cool. That's all I've got for you guys. Yeah, for sure. All right, everybody.
Okay.
We'll see you on the next training. Be good. Much love. Bye-bye.